How's it going, world? This is Grant with Retro Games and More. Today I have a little tutorial for all you guys and gals out there who want to amp up their retro controller experience a bit. It's easy and it's cheap to do. And I know before I show it to you or you see it and say anything that it is a bit ghetto and jury rigged, if you will, but it is effective. And all you need for this project is a thick, about a 1/3 to half an inch in diameter, and a hot glue stick and some hot fire or some fire. That's it. That is yeah, whatever. Okay. And fundamentally, what we're trying to achieve here is to turn a standard D-pad on your retro controller, like the NES or the Sega or the Master System or even the Super Nintendo. Hell, I've even done it for my Game Boy. Basically, we're trying to do, or fundamentally what we're trying to do, is turn that standard D-pad into a joystick, or more or less a simulation of an analog stick, because that's kind of what the feel that I get out of it, at least. And I'll go through the steps, albeit short steps, to accomplish this. Alright guys, let's take a look at what we got here. Basically, what you're going to need is a lighter and some hot glue sticks. About the thickness, you can go thicker, you can go thinner, just whatever feels right to you. Alright, so what we want to do with the glue stick is we want to cut it down to the size that that feels right. The longer that you keep it, the more joystick-ish it feels. The shorter you cut it down to, the more it kind of feels like like an analog stick. It kind of gives you that simulated feel. Basically, here is an example of what it would look like once we're done. And that's about 3/4 of an inch long, and it kind of gets a good feel. It could be a little bit shorter if I wanted it to feel more like an analog experience, but it adds a little flair, and it adds a little bit more precise controlling to your retro game experience, especially with the old Nintendo controllers like this. Sometimes the D-pad, the actual I guess you would call it, kind of like plungers underneath the buttons, the plastic buttons that hit the button sensor on the PCB underneath. Sometimes those plungers wear out, and they get a little harder to push. You gotta actually push them a little harder to get it to respond, and this even kind of helps that scenario a little bit. Into the project here. So basically, what we want to do is we want to cut the glue stick down, and actually, I'm going to do it for my Game Boy Color here. I'm actually going to put it on there to show you that it actually works with even smaller D-pads like this, and it works pretty well. So I'm going to try to cut it short on this one, so it it feels more comfortable in the hand, so your thumb's not sticking all the way out here. So basically, before you cut it down, you want to hold the controller or portable gaming unit or whatever you're doing this to in your hand, just to see how your thumb feels when you're actually holding it in both hands. And you just kind of want to get that idea. So more or less, this is how I hold my thumb on it. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut that hot glue piece down. And you want to get it about as even as you can. You want, ideally you want it to be like flat like that, but it's almost impossible to do without like a razor or a knife. I'm just using scissors, so it is kind of hard to get it an even cut. But what we'll do is we'll cut it maybe like maybe like a half an inch, couple centimeters, something like that. I'm going to try to rotate the scissors as I do it, so it kind of gives it a clean cut. Alright, so this is the piece that we're left with. Okay, so the trick is to actually lightly burn or lightly melt the end of the glue stick that you're going to put on the D-pad until you see it get kind of glossy. You're not dripping, because when it's dripping, that's too much. You just want it to get it kind of glossy. You don't want it to melt completely. And then place it right about as in the middle as you can on the D-pad. You don't want to put too much pressure because you don't want that glue to melt down beyond the top of the D-pad, because you know that can kind of get underneath your D-pad and make it harder to control. But if you do it just right, it actually works pretty well. So you kind of let it dry and set, and there you go. So that's kind of the basic idea behind it. But there's even one step further that we can go to make the gaming experience even better. And what I do is I do pretty much exactly what I did to the one side that we stuck to the D-pad to the top here. You kind of get it nice and kind of a gloss to it. You don't want it to get super hot, because you're going to burn the shit out of yourself if you do that, but just kind of want to get it there. And then you want to hold it in your hands the way that you like playing it. Put your thumb there until it kind of dries around your thumb. You don't want to pull it down or you're going to pull it up, but kind of keep it, you know, wiggling it as you do that. And basically what we're doing here is we're creating a kind of a surface on the top here, kind of a grippy surface on the top here that kind of imitates your thumbprint, and it gives it kind of a it just gives it a grip pad on the top there, if you can see that, and it actually makes it more stable and gives you kind of that feel. And it is sturdy, you know. It's hot glue stays on there pretty well. The cool thing about it is that, you know, it's not damaging anything, and it's easy to be removed, because all you have to do is just pry it off, and it doesn't leave anything there. If anything, it kind of cleans your D-pad out by having the glue stick there, but it doesn't hurt it at all, because you're not putting excess pressure on the rubber pads underneath the D-pad when you're taking it off. You're actually pulling the D-pad away from that. And it doesn't take much force to get it off, you know, but it's just kind of a neat trick to enhance your retro gaming control experience. So, thanks again for watching. See you on the next video.